where went to Kingston University, did a couple of degrees there, and then headed off into the aerospace and defence industry for a few years. And back in 2008, I established JNDC Limited, which is by definition an engineering design consultancy. So we design and make things for our customers, where we do anything from, say, medical equipment through to specialist industrial equipment, right the way through to retail stuff you can probably pop into Kingston and purchase today. People kind of refer to us as like the real Dragon's Den, where we actually get stuff done. But we're lucky we've got a good demand for our services, so we get to choose the customers we work with and typically focus in on environmentally focused projects wherever we can. So just to highlight a few, we've worked on anything from solving problem statements in regards to microplastics in oceans, from washing machine pollution from all your garments where they shed polys, and every time you wash it goes into the water stream and down to the ocean, through to, say, reducing CO2 emissions in landfill from food waste, right the way through to a problem statement around urban car charging points in very densely populated areas. We do work on non-directly environmentally focused projects, and when we do those, it's all around reducing the impact of what our customers are making. So choosing the right materials and processes, right the way through to removing single-use plastics and trying to develop environmentally responsible packaging. So for us recently, we've just got an environmental credential for the first time. So we're on the journey. I think that's one of the main reasons we're here today, is to try and share our experience of that.
Brilliant. Thank you very, very much, Dean. Can I go to Joanna? Joanna, can you say a quick few words about yourself and what you're doing?
Thank you, Forbes. Yes, my name is Joanna Rossi, and my career is focused on economic development, sustainable economic development. I started my career in academia as a researcher, and focusing a lot on innovation and technology transfer to businesses. I have interviewed more than 1,000 of businesses in order to understand how they work, how they how innovate, and how innovation can be transferred from one country to the other, developing clusters. I started my career in Greece, and I'm a love immigrant, as I said, because I was working with UK universities. I moved here. My husband is British, and I work I have worked in the European Union as well, agency as well, looking for a site, looking ahead what kind of policies and what is going to happen in the future, and what we have to do in order to happen things in the future, and working in London since 2003. With local authorities, London development agencies, and as a freelance consultant as well, working with businesses. And my key focus is always to make a difference, how to contribute in the society, how to make things better for businesses, and skills development for people. And yeah, then I'm working now in Kingston Council for 3 years now. 3 years before, I was working for Kingston University, where I studied as well environmental management in Kingston University. And now we're collaborating with all the local partners, and to transition the Kingston's economy to a greener economy.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you. Can I invite Anastasia just to say a few quick words about yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Anastasia Kireva. Nice to meet you. I have just completed my master's in environmental management at Kingston University. I have previously worked in different sectors such as hospitality, education, construction, event management, and beauty. I am now working as a freelance sustainability project assistant in the events industry. I'm taking part in this discussion because the topic that I chose for my dissertation had been proposed by the Borough of Kingston to our university, and addressed the topic of green growth and innovation opportunities that the net zero presents to businesses. So for this thesis, I interviewed local micro and small enterprises in Kingston and environmental consultants that work with these enterprises, and asked them about their thoughts on sustainability, what advantages environmental innovation brings to their business, what challenges they encounter, and what they thought might help them to overcome these challenges. I also complemented the interviews with the thorough analysis of previous roundtable discussions recorded by the Chamber of Commerce in Kingston. And I would like to thank Joanna and Forbes for supporting me during this project and inviting me to this discussion.
We're completely impressed with what you brought to the table when we had a pre-meeting discussion. We got a bit of feedback. Can I come to Drew, please? Drew, can you say a few words?
Yeah, my name's Drew Morrow. I've worked in various industries over the years, including recycling, mostly in sales and marketing capacity. And I've been a freelancer, self-employed in the Kingsmill Business Park for about 12 years now. I started off there in the old Kingston Innovation Centre, which was Unit 3. That didn't continue, but a group of us got together and took another unit on the business park to stay together. One of those companies is Capta. It's a small company that develops products from offcuts, fashion designers, offcuts. And we share enough to be working together there for a few years now. So we've developed some products together, and that's what I'm going to show you today. One of the or talk about today how I developed this latest product through our innovative process. So I'll leave it there.
Great, thank you very much. And last but not least, David Simons.
Thanks, Bob. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm David Simons. I'm the co-founder of a company called Joltify. We install electric vehicle charge points for both domestic and commercial. Bit of background about me. My career's predominantly been in retail. It started off when I was 16 working for Woolworths, if anyone can remember Woolworths, and the pick and mix counter. That was my job. That's what got me propelled to where I am today. So over the last 30 years, I worked up the ranks and finally ended up as general manager of John Lewis on Oxford Street. Around 12 years ago, I thought I had an itch, and I thought, you know what, let's see if I can make money for myself, and rather than everybody else, and give something back. And I opened a couple of coffee shops up in Surbiton and Twickenham called the Press Room, and I sold those earlier this year to focus on Joltify. And Joltify, I started with a good friend of mine called Martin Cook, who's a 10-year electrician. And the challenge that we found was that if someone wanted to go into EV ownership or electric vehicle ownership, it was a bit of a black hole. So our mission is to kind of inform and make the transition for people an easy and effortless one. And really proud that we're multi-award winning now. We won Startup of the Year for Kingston Borough last year, which we're really chuffed about, and also won Installer of the Year for the UK for EFIC. So when we're up against all the big boys in the industry, we need everything in our armory to kind of punch above our weight on our size, really. So really chuffed to have that. We've now got 3 engineers working for us, turning over around £500,000, hoping to double that in the next year. So it's all looking good.
Brilliant. And I see the map behind you of your national enterprise of reaching out further up north with your work?
Actually, I can say today we've just signed up our first franchisee up in Peterborough. So if Cully's listening or watching, well done, Cully, and welcome to the team. We're kind of a local company. We've been here for forever, but we've got kind of national ambition. So we want to expand through franchising and. So that's the map, that's the ambition, Forbes.
Very good, very good. I mean, one of the very impressive things is everybody here this morning is really so Kingston focused. Everything, as we're going to discuss, is kind of procuring from Kingston, but the wealth in Kingston We shouldn't ever underestimate. There's some fantastic organizations here. Okay, we're going to make a start. Thank you so much for giving a background to yourselves. But there's a kind of a bit of a context and with why we've set up this Think Green webinars. And really the first question is to Joanna, I mean, the UK government is committed to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, and the council published a climate action plan. The ambition is to move the whole borough to carbon neutrality by 2038. Joanna, what do these objectives mean for our borough's businesses, and what kind of business opportunities are there created from these commitments?
Thank you, Forbes. These targets create business opportunities which did not exist before. It's new jobs, new sectors we're moving on. The transition to a green economy is driven by three main sectors, three main industries: the built environment, transport, and energy. I would like to highlight 5 areas of legislation which create enormous opportunities for businesses. First, from 2025, all new homes will have to be carbon neutral. They have to produce 75 to 80% less emissions than in the past. Again, from 2025, all property or privately owned homes should have an EPC, Energy Performance Certificate, band 3C, moving from band F to band C. These 2 regulations, just these 2 regulations, I don't mention more, create enormous opportunities for in retrofit, heat pumps, solar panels, district heat networks, from the design stage that Dean mentioned earlier to the stage of maintenance, installation, production, and from every sector, not direct opportunities, any direct opportunities as well. Second, from 2025, ESG, the environmental social governance disclosure, becomes compulsory for large organizations. Again, many opportunities for data management and reporting and consultants. Third, and the net gain policy, and I don't know if you heard about that, for new developments, create opportunities in horticulture, landscape, gardening. All new developments have to produce, it's the net gain policy that you have net gain in a biodiversity. Fourth, we can see opportunities in circular economy. These are created from government commitments, which says that from 2035, 65% of municipal waste should be recycled. This creates changes in packaging and stimulates repairs, maintenance, reuse. And you can see in our borough many new shops have been created, refill and reuse, and mentioned earlier Camda, and which is using offcuts of materials. Even Selfridges has committed that by from 2025, 50% of their turnover will come from repairs and sales of pre-loved items. So, and fifth, if you are looking to the transport, the regulation related to the transport, we have the end of sale of petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030. Major opportunities in design of new vehicles and other infrastructure that is required, installation of electric vehicle charging points, garages for repairs need to get ready, maintenance of the EV charging points, and in parallel with that, we have active travel, promoting active travel, need to develop infrastructure for cycling, sales of bicycles is increased, accessories for bicycling, and don't forget the trendy outfits for the cyclists. So these are just to mention only 5 areas to demonstrate what kind of opportunities are created and which these opportunities can be utilized by our residents and to get their skills and about businesses and startups. Thank you.
And I suspect that there could be a whole lot more you could say about all of this. Thank you very much, Ioana, for a very brief overview. There's a lot going on. Pardon me, I'm really rubbish at this. I should have mentioned this a little bit earlier, but if you do have some questions, just please put them into the chat. I will follow the chat and try and get these in to our guests at a relevant time. So please put any questions into the chat. The next question, which I would like to address to Dean, is really that your work is, you've got a lot of diverse businesses and individuals. From your experience, are there business opportunities for every industry, or would you sort of say it's actually only concentrated in a few sectors? And which industries are most of your clients coming from at the moment?
So I do think there are opportunities for all industries to have receive a benefit from what's happening in the future from the environmental side. Critically in 2 areas. The first of all is, I believe every business can reduce their costs and also have a positive environmental impact around that, but also critically be more appealing to their customers. So everyone has the opportunity to reduce impact on their environment, be it from replacing old legacy equipment that's really energy inefficient, is something we've done recently, through to investing in more energy efficient heating, cooling, lighting systems, something as simple as a tap or a toilet system. All of these tiny little investments actually have really impacted our overheads as a business. So this is before any outward kind of marketing or sales. It's more reducing our overheads as a business. It's really helped. So in relation to environmental awareness, we all recognise it's increasing, and I believe it's only going to increase further as time goes on, right? So more customers, we feel, are seeking more environmentally friendly kind of goods, services, or that kind of feel about a company, that something about them is a little bit different to a competitor. So we, to be honest, have been working on that in the background. We haven't launched it yet on our website, but we're trying to proactively differentiate from our customers by having environmentally friendly goods and services that we offer. So we recognise it's not always the key thing customers are looking for, but again, it really is all about that feel of the business. We haven't even launched it on our website, but just talking to customers, they're excited about hearing what we're doing and how they're actually working with a company that's environmentally focused. So in short, I do genuinely think that every business or every business owner that's on this forum today has an opportunity to actually improve their business, be it reduced overheads through increased efficiencies environmentally and through, frankly, differentiating. There are a lot of suppliers out there from our point of view that aren't banging the environmental drum yet and enacting change in their business, and that's one key point of differentiation that I think will only increase with time.
And just very quickly, where does that leadership come from? When you said there's a lot of businesses that aren't necessarily, what do you think is the catalyst within a business?
I think the catalyst is the culture. So it's the people in the business. It doesn't have to be that classic top management forcing it down. It's actually the culture of all the individuals in the business actually caring themselves. And that, to me, comes down to education. So if there are individuals in the business who aren't necessarily that environmentally aligned, a very short amount of informal education can, more often than not, pivot someone around to having some really core environmental values. Good,
thank you for that. That kind of leads on quite nicely to a question for Anastasia, which is, what are the findings from your studies in relation to types of eco-innovation and the benefits for businesses? You've looked at the processes, services, product innovation. What did the survey, your work, kind of highlight?
Yes, well, first and foremost, innovation plays a really important part in the transition to a green economy. And what differentiates environmental innovation or eco-innovation from any other type of innovation is the fact that it's aimed at reducing the ecological impacts of greenhouse gas emissions, biodiversity loss, resource and land overexploitation. There are different classifications. The one that I looked at categorized environmental innovation into product, process, organizational, and sometimes marketing innovation. As for product innovation, it's an improvement or creation of goods or services as a result of the implementation of more sustainable materials, increased longevity or resilience of products. Examples include products made from recycled or organic materials, remanufactured or repaired products, or those that are made from ethically sourced materials. The second type is process innovation. It's focused on new or enhanced techniques, delivery of goods or procedures that can help cut costs or improve the quality and efficiency of goods and services. For example, efficient transportation, energy saving during manufacture of products, effective waste management, and so on. Another type is organizational innovation. It refers to the application of novel or improved organizational practices, workplace structuring, relationships with external actors. So for example, if a company has an environmental management system in place, it's organizational innovation, or it has achieved environmental certifications such as ISO 14001 or B Corp. It trains employees regularly, collaborates with stakeholders, and so on. And the marketing innovation deals with changes in the design of a product or its packaging, product exposure, company image, pricing, and promotional approaches. So for example, eco-design packaging, reusable packaging, quality certifications as well. It's important to know that the distinction between different types of eco-innovation can sometimes be subtle, especially among organizational process innovations. But the main point here is that as a company, you don't necessarily need to invent new technologies to be an innovator. What matters is the ability to reduce your enterprise's environmental impact, whether it's through implementing a new policy, developing a new sustainable product, or improving its packaging, hiring sustainability-oriented staff, cutting energy and water use, and etc. To add to motivations, to everything that Dean has previously mentioned, though there's an example of research that proves that customers increasingly drive the adoption of eco-innovation. One research showed that 86% of consumers would invest more in domestic products that are less harmful to the environment. And it's also in line with another study of 9,000 customers in 9 countries that demonstrated that buyers will pay more for eco products, especially for medicine, food, and electronic appliances. So as for benefits of eco-innovation, one of the important benefits is competitive advantage and stronger reputation among and recognition among stakeholders such as employees, suppliers, investors, and consumers. And then increased customer demand, and as a result, economic profit. For example, one of the interviewed organizations in my study who obtained green certification advertised on social media, put stickers on their doors, and they reported that it increased their customer demand, especially among younger customers. Another great benefit is reduced costs from improved efficiencies. I interviewed an organization also in the hospitality industry, a hotel, that said that they spend less on municipal water and bottled water by encouraging their guests to reuse their towels and providing them with filtered tap water in refillable glass bottles in the rooms and event rooms as well. Social advantages are also important, such as the sense of personal fulfillment, better well-being, and health, and positive contribution to the community. Several interviews mentioned that in general they felt happier, healthier, and more fulfilled. Another benefit is increased environmental knowledge and awareness, because as soon as you start innovating, you learn so much by doing research and talking to other like-minded businesses. Another one is attraction and retention of sustainability-oriented staff. And lastly, firms' contribution to improving the environment, of course.
I think what's interesting, there's a lot of really interesting points there, but I think what is very interesting is that innovation doesn't necessarily have to be a big leap. It can be those small micro steps which you can take, even as you said about the hospitality, the recycling of the towels, giving the customer the option to get it cleaned or not, the bottles. Because I think innovation sometimes can sound a scary and expensive word. And I think it doesn't always have to be treated that way. So there's some really interesting, good points there. Thank you very much, Anastasia. From somebody, I'd like to go to David. As he modestly mentioned, he won the Kingston Borough Business Awards Startup this year. And I think a lot of these processes which Anastasia mentioned, he has probably sort of consciously and subconsciously kind of brought into his business. What skills would you say business leaders have so that they're able to identify and utilize these opportunities in the green economy?
I think just before I answer that, I think you just picked up on a great point that Anastasia made, that people see the going green as a really scary thing and they don't quite know what it means. And I think small steps are the answer. And so saying what does a leader want, in this new kind of economy, and that is, I think ultimately you've still got to be a business owner and a business manager, and your business has got to be successful, because if you're not a successful business, you're going to fail. So it doesn't matter what aspirations you may have. It doesn't matter if your business isn't a successful one. And so I think it's important that you, as a business owner, that you always focus on the figures and you make sure that the steps that you take are financially manageable steps. And what strikes me is that the whole environment is moving so quickly at the moment. And one of the big skills has to be agility, because things move so rapidly and technology is moving forward so fast. What we need is to make sure that we're agile to that, but also we surround ourselves with people that know about that stuff. And I don't know, I'm quite happy to put my hand up and say there's a whole lot of stuff I don't know, but I've got a bunch of people around me that know a lot more than I do, and that's vital. So I hear Anastasia talk and it kind of overwhelms me with your knowledge and your passion for what you're talking about. And I'm making notes going, I don't know some of the words that you mentioned, so I need to go away and learn. But I'm not an expert in that. I think I'm quite good at running a business and generating the culture and making money, but I need to have people around me who can help me. So I think one of the big things is not being a kind of an arrogant manager or arrogant business person. I think you know everything about everything. That's not the case. And I think you have to embrace people around you and you network well. Chamber of Commerce is a great forum for doing that. And I think if you're particularly young business, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And I think talking to people that understand it and can share some steps that you can start to take, actually you can turn that into actually ways to make your business more sustainable and actually more profitable. And that's ultimately the key.
Brilliant. Thank you, David. And I think we discussed it yesterday in terms of no matter what kind of business you are, it's imperative actually, if you want the business to grow, is to get people who know areas more than you do. Don't be afraid to have smarter people around you. And I think, as you said, this landscape is changing so much. And actually, Manny in the chat has put up just a good reminder that there are plenty of opportunities with the Internet of Things, and that is one landscape which is rapidly changing. So that's always something to keep an eye on. I'd like to quickly go back to Anastasia, just because David has talked about the opportunities and just that leadership. Your study also reflected on sort of the barriers which prevented businesses from taking advantage. Can you just briefly explain a little bit what you came across as the barriers? And I wonder if cost is going to be in there.
Of course. Well, firstly, implementing change requires time, knowledge, and skills and resources, just like David mentioned, both financial and human resources. So getting started on their sustainability journey can be highly challenging to small firms, especially due to their size. Secondly, difficulty in shifting other people's mindset can be sometimes a barrier. Increased awareness and support from different parties, including top management, employees, suppliers, and customers, is very important. Next, there are certain external factors that can prevent the development of sustainable activities in firms. One of them would be the growing energy crisis. It could be, for example, a barrier to adopting renewable energy. Another one is absence of infrastructure, for example, electrical vehicles or EV charging stations, or inability to install solar panels for certain reasons, and the pandemic. And of course, upfront costs associated with eco-innovation can be a barrier. Getting funding and the expected payback timeframes can also be an issue. My report's analysis suggested that small enterprises perceive lack of education, skills, and information as the most significant barrier to eco-innovation. However, it also indicated that barriers such as COVID can also provide opportunities because it boosts creativity, stimulates a change in people's mindset, and can make a positive impact on the development of local business activities. So, for example, in the previous roundtable discussions, one of the founders of a business, it's a cleaning company, reported that the pandemic created a shortage of trigger sprays, hand soap pumps, and flip tops for cleaning products. And so what they did, they partnered with a recycling nonprofit and were able to collect, I think, over 30 kilograms of these parts from local businesses for reuse. And thus, the company overcame the supply issue. It saved purchasing costs, prevented the plastic parts from going to waste, and was able to continue providing the cleaning services. And that brings me to my final point, which is the importance of collaboration for overcoming challenges. Interviews and webinar participants emphasized that building networks and partnering with clean suppliers, nonprofit organizations and charities, local authorities, educational institutions, and like-minded businesses can be really valuable to their success.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. Yes, I think, I mean, we talked about it the other day as well, in terms of this sort of the challenge of knowledge, getting the knowledge, and that collaboration is so important to enhance that and to grow that piece of knowledge. And I think that's where I think Drew will come into it a little bit, is just sort of where do we get this knowledge? And I think there's so many willing collaborators. It's how we try and pull these things together. So, pardon me, I'll just put myself on mute. Drew, we haven't forgotten about you. Welcome. You're sort of really sort of at the beginning of this journey in terms of you've been looking at different innovations. Can you just explain to our listeners here today just sort of your journey of developing the products and sort of the story about trying to solve a problem? Because it's all well and good sort of saying, right, we're going to go this way. There always has to be this element of problem solving to get that spark of innovation. Can you explain what happened for you? Yeah,
fortunately, and this goes back to what Anastasia was saying about collaboration. We're working in a shared office, and I have been for years. So I was close by with CAPTA, who have already been innovating on products and sustainable issues, reusing products. So having worked with them, and then this actual product, I'll put it in. I'll put a link into the message actually to because it's easy to see the product as opposed to trying to explain it. It came about by luck, but it came to us because we were already developing and working on an innovation within the office in a shared environment. So then we took advantage of the little eureka moment that there could be a possibility to create this product, and the collaboration in the office. We went about thinking of a solution to it. And it fitted the ethics and the journey we were already on, which was trying to create some sustainable solutions. We're not interested in creating gadgets that can contribute to landfill. We were only interested in creating something that was beneficial for the greater good. So although a lot of our background work was in exercise machines, and we're also developing apps and things like that there. So it sort of tied in the sense that the research we'd already been doing in tech and things has been beneficial in the sense that we're now setting up a platform, a peer-to-peer platform for to spread the message across the country with this product, because the product itself is just an insulation product for a living room door, and it's made from foam and cloth. But this didn't sit well with us using this cloth or this foam all the time, so we've been racking our brains to find a solution, a more sustainable solution. And the idea is that we can set a platform up for upholsterers and seamstresses and seamsters across the country to register, reuse old pillows or pieces of furniture that maintain or hold some of this insulation product, and reuse it and make it so it will be sourced locally, produced locally, and sold locally. It's a full circular economy product in that sense, and that sits very well with us in the end. But it took a lot of, as you said earlier, small innovating steps to get there, because we didn't sit with that whole plan. We didn't come up with that whole plan in a day or anything else. It was doing a bit, just getting on with it and doing a bit, and then finding another way of doing a little bit more and doing a little bit more. So the technology has come into it. We're tying the technology, the latest technology we're using, a platform called ShareTribe, which is a full peer-to-peer platform you can plug and play, tied in with the very basic breaking up old products to reuse them again locally. So it's been that the collaboration has been the main thing. Yeah.
And can you just briefly explain, because you were saying earlier about the local skills and supplies. You've sourced so much from around the borough, haven't you? Yes.
There's actually there's a very good charity called the Save the World Club, who set up a circulatory centre. It's over there at Barrylands at the minute, and it's moving into Kingston Centre, where they take in all sorts of stuff, and we have taken some materials from them, i.e. curtains and things like that, to fashion again into drafties, the product that we're doing. So we've also been engaging with local seamstresses who can work from home, creating parts for us in Surbiton, New Malden, and around Kingston. So that we wouldn't be able to employ these people full time, but they're freelancers. They're working from home, so it's a resource that we've been tapping into, and that's what we aim to spread out with across the country with that using local skills.
And just quickly, I'm deviating a little bit. What's going to be the next step? What's the next step that you've got in mind?
The next step is PR. We need to get this out. We are trying to finish off the platform at the minute. We're trying to get it up running, everything running smoothly, and then scale. We've got to scale this now. People weren't really interested in this product because it's a winter seasonal product installation. In the great warm summer we had, but now they are, and it's starting to move. So it's scaling this up across the country, and we need to work on PR. for that. There, we need to get a break in the PR. I would say we need social media content, and we're trying to do short videos. This is the world has changed now. You don't need a professional thousands of pounds worth of corporate video done to promote your product. Amateurish video now works if you've got an angle, or if you've got a
and also if you've got a very collaborative pet, as you obviously did by looking at that link. Pets tell everything these days, I reckon. So I think that's always a good way of doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, PR. So any of the people listening here, if you think you can help on the PR and just any recommendations, please get in contact, because it looks great. It's great to see that link. And I think it'd be interesting to see how that goes in a year's time for you.
Forbes, I've just looked at the website, Drew. I think it's amazing, and I've got a dog, and I was only thinking about something that last night when the draft started coming through the door. So I think it's a great product. But it's interesting to talk about PR, because that's our major challenge as well, is getting the awareness of the brand out there, because you're up against so many big companies with so much money, and pay-per-click, it doesn't work. Social media is really hard, and you kind of how do you do it? So if you find somebody to help you, Drew, can you pass them my way as well, because it's our biggest challenge. Is we're ready to go. Like, it looks like your product is too. You just need to turn on the taps and get the word out. And then you'd be amazing. But it's getting that awareness out there is the biggest challenge. I suppose for most businesses, I suppose, but I'm 100% with you on it.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Drew. And actually, I mean, David, the next question really is sort of how quickly are your businesses progressing and growing? I guess that PR element, and I'll ask Dean in a second as well, but that's obviously that mechanism to push it further forward, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're in year 2. We're just finishing year 2 now. So we're probably tenfold sales what we were year 1. So we're around £500,000 now, which is amazing. And we want to quadruple that in the next year. And it is getting the word out is the biggest challenge. I mean, now we're in year 2, we're starting to find we're getting referrals. We've also seen a new gap in the market. So we're doing EV charge points, but we're now moving into solar. So we're just doing our first solar installation in a couple of weeks' time. It fits very nicely together. And a bit like the EV, I think there's an opportunity to do it well for people, never over promising, under delivering, which seems to be going on a lot. But so I think year 2, year 3 will be interesting. We've got 3 engineers now. We want to make that 5, and we want to continue with the franchising. But we've got that organic growth, but it's how we can propel that more. That's probably our biggest challenge out there at the moment.
Yeah, that's very interesting to situation you have. Dean, what's your recommendation? Sort of how quickly your business is progressing and growing? Where do you see things going in the next year?
Well, we've grown in the last few years by doubling our headcount, which is quite a huge increase for a small business. So there are only 7 of us in the business with a dog, and that's it. So we're not huge by any means, but going from roughly like 3.5 to 7 people, that's a lot of growth for us in a relatively short amount of time. And as David was saying earlier in regards to stability, and my key job's to look at the numbers and make sure that the business is a going concern month on month, year on year, to make sure we can uphold all our responsibilities to pay staff and pay all of our suppliers. So we've decided to really focus in on efficiencies over the next period of time. Ultimately, we all recognise we're moving into economic uncertainty. I'll leave it at that for now. But we just don't know what's going to happen. So instead of just continuing to grow and grow, what we're looking to do is just double down. And for example, we've started to invest in internal tools that make us do our work in maybe a quicker way, a more efficient way, that ultimately delivers higher value to our customers, to allow us to have a more of a competitive edge. So things like 3D printers that make stuff for us. We got rid of, I think, 3 of them that were old legacy bits of kit that consumed energy, cost us loads, and we've reinvested in some real state-of-the-art kit, right the way through to simple stuff like making sure all the IT infrastructure is seamless, or as seamless as IT can be. So anyone of the team can actually go about their job in the most efficient way. So I guess as far as growth goes and how I feel we're going to grow, we're not necessarily growing in headcount. Hopefully our turnover and margins will grow, but ultimately growing internally with better tools, better resources. A key word that was picked up by David earlier is the agility. So keeping things lightweight and not burdensome. So if we do develop something, if the market changes, we can pivot and adapt and move forwards quickly.
Thank you. We're rapidly running out of time, because I was just going to say, ask about resilience, but I kind of just sourcing local people. And do you think there is, do you think you are able to find people who live locally in the borough? Is there space there?
Yeah, so the people we've taken on over the last couple of years are all local, within what, 20-minute commute probably max, a few within walking distance. And for us, genuinely, it's about finding the right person, and we can upskill them rather than finding the right skills and not having the right fit in our business. So we've been fortunate to find the right locals. The universities and schools around here kick out a lot of very good candidates, relatively young, but again, they're great additions to our team. So to be concise, yeah, we haven't had an issue with that, and that's all down to more training and educating ourselves rather than trying to find all the skills in the right person, which frankly we have found difficult if you're trying to look for everything all in one go.
I mean, that's a very good point. Whether it's creative or green skills, is actually trying to get the right person and then add on those skills around it, which is incredibly important. I mean, Drew has obviously been picking up a lot of, he's got a little infrastructure of people as well from local. David, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I pick up what Dean said 100%. It's all about the attitude. You recruit to the attitude, because it's easy to train somebody. It's more easy to train somebody on a skill than it is to train someone on their attitude. And interestingly, we found it probably one of our best guys in the business at the moment. Worked in retail in the centre of Kingston, was made redundant last year. So we took him on board. We've skilled him up to become an electrician. He's now a fully fledged electrician and also a business development manager. So it just shows that you can take people, as long as you've got their willingness and the attitudes right for the person. The skilling up is almost the easy part. But the Kingston absolutely has got a lot of opportunities, and just very, very briefly, as building on that, as far as opportunities, I think the local council can, is where we can actually, there's a huge marketplace for us. And I think sometimes in a small business, it's hard to get your foot in the door, because there's a lot of criteria you need in order to get businesses, to get business in with the councils. And it would be great if there was some way of helping SMEs into that arena. So I know from our solar and our EV, it's like how do you even penetrate the walls of the councils and saying, think of all the libraries and schools that we could do business with, but how do you get in there? And is there a way in which that could be supported? And by doing that, we can then work with the colleges and universities to start bringing apprentices on board and things like that. So I think there's a cyclical opportunity there, but it's almost getting in is the hard bit, or where we don't know how to do it, I think.
Yes, I think, and the other thing is, you mentioned about the college. They've recently got a grant to try and upskill a lot of their students into the sort of green skills. And I think that is really interesting, particularly because there's not enough diversity, as we've discussed before, in terms of getting female engineers, female practitioners in it. There's a lot of work still to be done with that, I think. Which leads me, and I'm not expecting Joanna to answer David's particular question on that, because that'd be really unfair. But Joanna, sort of the final question before we do a little wrap up is, what can the council do to assist businesses to capitalise on these opportunities? David's thrown out a challenge to you. But what other opportunities are there for that the council can help with? I'm on mute. Joanna, you're on mute as well.
Sorry. Thank you. Yes, David and thank you. It's an opportunity for me to share with you all around this table today and the audience what we're doing and how we're working together. We're working together with all the partners, key partners, stakeholders, the Chamber of Commerce and colleges, and not only in Kingston College, but in South London College, Kingston University, large businesses, representatives from large businesses, representatives from small businesses that we have around. We have established the Transition to Green Economy group in 2020, which is part of the Kingston Economic Recovery Task Force. And so we're looking how to help businesses to reduce their emissions, to reduce the negative impact on the environment from one side, and how to help businesses on the other side to take advantage, to capitalize on the opportunities created from all these commitments, central government commitments that then interpreted at a regional level, at a London level, and then at local authority level, where we have the Climate Emergency Action Plan. So having the businesses together in a Transition to Green Economy, which it's a group that has contributed enormously in creating the thematic area of the Climate Action Plan in Kingston Council's Climate Action Plan. So now that group is evolving, is growing, and we are we're looking to develop the Kingston Green Business Community. We'd like to bring all the businesses together, like-minded businesses who like to reduce the negative impact on the environment, innovate and progress and thrive, and see how we can work together. So all the other panelists and how they work together with local businesses and how important is that collaboration. This is, we're trying to achieve it through creation of this Kingston Green Business Community. We're working closely with Chamber of Commerce, with Forbes. We're enormously thankful to Forbes with his contribution and graphic design skills as well, and helps us our PR. You mentioned earlier how important is that PR, and with other businesses who are as well, like David Simon Vine must be in this call as well, who helps us, is an ambassador in that, and IQ in IT as well, Katerina, who helps on that with creating a platform to how businesses can network and collaborate, find partners, find other businesses who have the same challenges and learn from other businesses. This is an area that we're focusing currently to create the Kingston Green Business Community. I will post the link, and businesses who are from the audience now who are interested to join, please register. Above that, we're working, as I said, with a South London partnership, and we develop in other neighboring boroughs. We undertook a study to see where the jobs, opportunities for future opportunities, which sectors. And we can see that there are around 40,000 jobs in carbon-intensive sectors currently, which needs these jobs to be to change substantially to become green jobs. And we have created the South London Green Skills Academy, the academy to support collaborative work between employers, educators, and enable different strands of this work. Could be retrofit, could be EV charging points, could be waste management. So there are different strands. And also we have created the South London, the SLP Zero Waste Map, where businesses can promote themselves. So businesses like your own can be on that map because you are promoting products and or services which are friendly to the environment. And that will help reach the consumers easier. It's in a way. We work as well with a South London, South Thames Colleges Group, which awarded recently 1.9 million to develop the infrastructure, all this money will go to infrastructure. We'll buy, for example, EVs and infrastructure. They need to train the new generation of engineers, car engineers, and infrastructure for retrofit, and infrastructure as well for greening, circular economy, all the sectors we mentioned earlier. So that, and train as well the trainers.
Joanna,
So,
I'm conscious we're rapidly coming up to the hour. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's yeah, thank you, Forbes, because I'm so excited for what we see. And I will post on this link so that the audience can access all the support we provide, and we're planning for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are my last words.
No, it's and actually Neil has put into the chat about a potential green accreditation scheme, and it is actually something we have been discussing. So watch that space, because there's a lot of merit in that. What I want to quickly do, if you can bear with us, because we are coming up to the hour, is I just want to invite our guests just to give a few little kind of final top tips of what they would say as a kind of words of encouragement, if you're thinking of your work and what steps you can take. So I'll start with David first. David.
Having probably had 35 years in business in various guises, it feels now there's real traction for the green economy, and I think if businesses don't actually grasp it, I think two things will happen. One, they'll actually be seen as a negative thing. I think it's a normal now that you should be part of the green economy. And secondly, I think financially you'll be disadvantaged. So my advice would be to dip your toe in the water, even if it's in a small way, and start your journey, because whenever you start looking into something, it's not quite as hideous and as onerous as you think it might be.
Yeah, very good point. Anastasia, that kind of picks up on one of the things you've been saying. Do you want to say a few top tips to round this up?
Yes, mine would be, first of all, network. Reach out to other like-minded businesses, to the local council, to the Chamber of Commerce, ask for advice, share your own experience. Other businesses have found the process of eco-innovating enlightening and in general quite positive. Next, I would recommend to start with finding ways to reduce costs through insulation or recycling office waste, purchasing from local suppliers, reducing packaging, installing energy efficient lighting, and so on. And lastly, don't miss your chance. Customers, like we said, are increasingly driving the market. They want sustainable products and services, and net zero provides immense opportunities. You just need to decide which one it is for you, whether it's retrofit, passive house construction, or green delivery services, EV maintenance, products from recycled materials. The opportunities are there waiting for you to seize them.
Brilliant, thank you. We've talked before about greenwashing. I think none of you have actually mentioned it, because all of you are actually practicing it and doing it. And I think that's a very important element to it, is actually sort of walk the talk. Drew.
Yeah, innovating. I would say exercising is where the mind gets clear, and you come and you see opportunities and ideas. Jogging, probably cycling.
We've lost you there for a second, Drew. We've still lost you. Hey, we need to move. Yeah, we've lost you.
Oh yeah, are you back now?
You're back.
Yeah, so that's my key tip is
exercise and getting out. That's a good way.
And move the body, and some innovating thoughts will come to you.
Brilliant. Finally, Dean.
I compliment a number of points already made, but ultimately I've got two, which is innovation and education. So innovating, just looking at what you've already got as a goods or services and working out how you can make them more considerate to the environment, and letting your customers know, because I think there are lots of small changes that can be made to make you differentiate from the market. Also, keeping your ear to the ground on funding. Funding is out there. There are grants. There's funds out there to ease cash flow if you're looking at capital expenditure and things in certain areas. And finally, education, point I talked about earlier, getting the right people into the business and educating them. I think with the right people in the business, that's what the business is rather than the business brand or name. So yeah, innovation and education would be mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our guests, to Anastasia, to David, Joanna, Drew and Dean. Fabulous amount of talent and know-how there. Some really good points, very well made. There's just two small things I just want to quickly wrap up on, if you can bear with this. Is one, there's been a key word about education, two keywords, education and collaboration. The Kingston Green Business Community, it does as the label says, it is there to try and pull people together. We're wanting to create this platform, this central point of resource for you. So if you want more information, you're thinking, where do I go? Yes, you've got Auntie Google, but honestly, the answer is close at hand in Kingston. We will be pushing this further and further. So the Kingston Green Business Community, it's free to join and be a part of this. So there's some really kind of good names in here. And I think we'd welcome everybody to kind of join it. And then finally, from a chamber point of view, we have our own kind of green zone for the Chessington Business Expo, which is on October the 26th at Chessington School. We have about 4 advisors. It's a very informal little area, but really it's a spot that if you've got any questions, come along and have a word with them. And if they won't know, they will probably know somebody else who does know. That's the way that collaboration works in Kingston, is one person helps the other to the other. So that's October the 26th and our green zone. Can I thank Joanna Rossi again from the council? As you can clearly hear from Joanna, she has got a huge amount of energy and enthusiasm for this green agenda. She's working incredibly hard to pull our guests together to make this, to actually have an impact. Thank you again to our guests, and thank you so much for everybody who's attended this morning. We will be getting this up on the Chamber website so you can see it at a later date. And yeah, just take those small steps. They make all the big difference. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Forbes.
Thanks, Forbes. Thanks.
Thank you.